What's up, guys? Welcome to Restricted America. This is a little bit of a different type of episode. This is more kind of breaking news. If you didn't just watch Toby Leary at Cape Gunworks, he just talked about some breaking news out of the Mass State House News Service. Or he got the information from Stephen Exaros, which is his state rep. So unfortunately, I don't have access to the State House News Service website. I've tried doing trials, but that's the only way you can apparently get in, which kind of sucks. So if anyone does have that information, if they want to send it to my email and actually send the article, that'd be great. But basically, Toby was talking about it. He said that, and I'm paraphrasing here, that basically Governor Healy was asked about point blank about this, about our petition to repeal H.4 885, now known as Chapter 135 in Massachusetts, and she basically said that she absolutely opposes, or at least her spokesperson said this, said that Healy absolutely opposes the suspension of the new gun law. So basically, right now we're filing a referendum. We just filed it with the State House. It's the Attorney General is writing up a summary as we speak, and then it will be sent off to the Secretary of State. We'll get in-person petitions. We'll sign those. They have to be verified signatures of people, registered voters that live in Massachusetts, and they will. Once we hit that 50,000 threshold, we want more than that, but 50,000 is the threshold that we need to put this law on ice until we can vote on it, which will in the next statewide election, which will technically, there's obviously this election coming November, but with the time frames and deadlines, this won't be put to a vote until 2026. So we would have 2 years basically of this law being on ice. We couldn't be enforced. It couldn't. Most of these deadlines would just kind of become Gugats, Italian heritages speaking. Essentially, have more time to fight this thing. We'd have more time to spread the word to people, and who would be voting on this come that November election. But Governor Healy said that she absolutely opposes the suspension of the new gun law. Experts believe that the governor has 30 days after a bill is signed to add an emergency preamble. If she did, if that is true, if she did, basically this law wouldn't be suspended. Like, we'd have to live under it immediately when she adds that emergency preamble. So that is some crazy news. I'm sorry I took so long to get to it, but I wanted to give a little bit of a backstory if people are living in other states listening to this. But basically, if she adds that, she would make herself literally the largest oppressive tyrant in probably the history of this country. She would be bypassing the legislative process. It would become the largest threat to democracy that, the state has probably ever seen. It would be awful, and we'd have to fight it through the court system. I did try to take a deeper look into this and what legally she can do. From what I've read this legislative drafting manual from MassGov. I did not see anything about the governor having 30 days to add an emergency preamble. I've looked at the Mass Legal Services organization website. I have not seen anything about a 30-day period to add an emergency preamble. Everything that I'm seeing saying that she would have had to have added it when she was signing, before she was signing. The only thing on the Mass Legal Services that I saw that could indicate this is a sentence in the effective date of legislation, which there's a paragraph that says both the governor and the legislator, by a standing vote in each branch, can designate an act as an emergency to take effect immediately. If the legislator does so by way of an emergency preamble, the law takes effect when the governor signs it. If the governor designates an act as an emergency, the law takes effect when the governor's letter of emergency is received by the Secretary of State. That is the only indication that I saw through my research. Quick research. This is kind of breaking news. So again, this may be right, this may be wrong. I'm just trying to give some direction to people who don't know what's going on. And I also saw that in Massachusetts, once a bill is signed by the governor and submitted to the Secretary of State, it is signed into law based on the provisions decided during the legislative process. If a bill needs to take effect immediately as an emergency law, this must be determined before it is signed by the governor, requiring approval through an emergency preamble that has been voted on by a 2/3 majority in both legislative chambers. Once the governor signs the bill, the legal process regarding its status as a regular emergency law is complete. The governor does not have the authority to retroactively declare a signed law as an emergency independent of the legislative process. Characterization of a law as an emergency ensures that its provisions take effect immediately upon signing without the usual waiting period. If there is confusion around a declaration made after the signing, it could relate to subsequent executive actions or orders that address the implementation of the law, but changing the legislative nature of an already signed bill post-signing is outside standard legislative procedures. Therefore, any change in status requiring it to function as an emergency after the fact would likely need to involve legislative action or potentially a separate new enactment. And just through quick Google searches, I have not found anything that says that they have 30 days. So I don't know if this is something that's just not very known. I just don't know if this is something that's not very known to the public and, wouldn't be readily available on Google. But I mean, this is something that Gun Owners Action League and, other opponents of this bill have kind of feared that the governor would try to do something like this. But I don't know if the fears are warranted now. The bill was signed, two weeks ago at this point, and we haven't heard anything about Governor Healey signing an emergency preamble. Again, I don't even know if it's legal for her to do that. I don't know if the Secretary of State, if he has any integrity at all, which I believe he does. He doesn't seem to usually get involved partisan. His name is William F. Galvin. Yeah, I don't know a ton about Bill Galvin, but from what I hear, he's pretty nonpartisan. So if there's something, if there's an issue pertaining to this emergency preamble, I would have to believe that he would do the right thing and not accept a letter after the bill is already signed. That's the news for right now, guys. I wouldn't go straight to panic about this. I believe that there are systems in place to, preserve democracy at this point. Us be able to go through with our referendum. I wouldn't, panic, but I would also spread the word that, the governor opposes this democratic process of filing a referendum. I would spread the word that is happening, that she might take drastic steps in stopping this. I don't know of any that are legal, but if this 30-day time period is true, we definitely need to spread the word that the governor is, what she truly is, how she is not for democracy. I never believed she was for democracy. She is very partisan and does not stick up for our actual civil rights that are protected by the Second Amendment. I know this is a developing story, guys, and I know I couldn't provide a ton of information, but once more information is available, I will share it with you guys as soon as possible. If you enjoy these types of videos, give it a like. If you have any comments or concerns, which I'm sure you will, put them down in the comments. I'll try to get to all of them, and if I can't, you guys can obviously answer each other's comments. If you don't follow us on X, I just made a new account. It's @RestrictedAMA. Again, Restricted America was taken But if you follow us on there, I'll try to give more current updates. And if you're not subscribed on YouTube, make sure to do that now. Other than that, stay informed and stay unrestricted, folks.